Ahoy there crew, this is your captain speaking. A few weeks ago I asked you all to send me some emojis, and today we're turning that chaos into art, or trying to at least. To start us off, I picked these emojis sent in by Meow Foolery. It's a cohesive combo, so I had a pretty good idea of what I wanted to do with it. This was the perfect chance to draw one of those OCs I've had in my head for a while and haven't properly designed yet. It's kind of ridiculous since she has me in quite the chokehold. Like, she doesn't even have a name yet, so to be honest, I'm open to suggestions. She's a ghost, specifically a banshee. In previous artworks, I drew her love interest to be a shadow man. Visually, he's sort of like the characters you see in Shadow's house, for anyone that knows that anime. So everyone she gets close to dies. But her love interest is supposed to be different. He's just not like the other guys. So I should probably make him an undead or some type of immortal character. Like a vampire, maybe? I'm still not too sure what to do with him, since right now he's literally just a plot device. For a plot that doesn't even exist. This video isn't about them, so let's get back to the artwork at hand. I drew my dear Ghost OC tucking her hair behind her ear while smiling at the viewer. She's just leaning back onto a wooden wall or fence, maybe. I've been trying out a different way to texture wood lately, and I really like the way this looks. It might just be a little too striking for some of you though. Speaking of striking, I made sure to make the stars and the moon in the background glow as best I could. I knew I wanted them to be pretty obvious but not take away from the subject. I plan to make her look very translucent from the start, since what good is a drawing of a ghost if you can't at least slightly see what's behind them? It did make her look a little duller, but regardless, I really enjoy how this artwork turned out. She's looking gorgeous. This next artwork vibe is much different, but also really nice. The next set of emojis comes from the lovely Carmea Stone. They stream over on Twitch pretty often. She mostly focuses on games while sprinkling a little art in here and there. So go check her out if that's your kind of thing. She was also quite generous with picking the emojis. This combo seemed cute and simple, which is right up my alley. Trust me, they just kept getting harder and harder to work with. For this one, I knew I wanted to draw a unicorn girl holding a lollipop. The thundercloud was a bit of a challenge to incorporate. In the end, I decided to add some thunderbolts to fill the space. I really wanted to fill the canvas space up as much as I could. That's also why I drew her hair whipping up at the end. Using different elements to fill the canvas like this is pretty satisfying. For the color scheme of this one, I knew I wanted it to be soft and pastel-y. It wasn't working all that great, though. I couldn't get quite the right contrast between the different parts of the artwork, right? So I decided to turn up the saturation. I ended up with a nice pink, purple and yellow. I like it quite a lot. To ground these colors, I made her skin a nice warm orangey brown. It ended up fitting in really well. While I was coloring this piece, I decided to have the lollipop match this character's horn. It's a neat way to add some more personality to the piece. She'd definitely be a little hesitant to eat it because of the resemblance. This gave me the perfect chance to practice a little expression. It's not the strongest one, but I think it conveys her frustration nicely. My absolute favorite part of her has to be her eyes. But after finishing this nice artwork, I moved on to another fun but more silly one. My friend Choco sent me a very celebratory combo. She also makes art videos here on YouTube, just a bit more focused on random rants and commentary. So if you like that type of content, be sure to send her some love. I sat for a while with her emoji combo, thinking of what to draw when it hit me. I can use this as an excuse to draw Marley, my One Piece self-insert. Again. I just love drawing her hair so much. This time she's wearing a Heart Pirates uniform that she's dyed blue and made a few other alterations to. She also has a bit of a funny expression, which is where the blushing emoji comes in. I imagine she was just about to drink straight from the bottle when Lo arrived with the cake just for her, so she tilted it down a little too much in surprise. I also just want to mention that I made the cake red velvet, since that is my favorite type of cake and it matches her hair pretty nicely. Both reasons work pretty well. I might have cheated with this one though. I combined some of the emojis to create elements in the artwork, specifically the beer glasses and the champagne bottle. I combined them into an unidentified bottle of alcohol. I also seem to have forgotten to add in the streamers and confetti I planned to. It gave me some trouble, so I kept putting it off until I finished the piece and completely forgot about it. At least this piece was very fun to draw. I really want to draw more silly interactions like this. It's always so fulfilling. It honestly makes me want to work on that comic I've been thinking about making for so long. But that's not next on the agenda. Right now I have some more emojis to get to. Next we have this super long combo sent by Angelina Davis 27. To make things easier, she said that I could break them down into groups of 3. I technically did that if I chose these 3, right? I wish I could tell you it was an accident, but it wasn't. The church ones stood out to me. Oddly enough, I'm not religious, but I do love the look of a pretty church, especially when it has some stained glass windows. So of course I decided to make my own little stained glass design. I had and still have no idea how to decide which sections to separate, so I just did it based on vibes. For my design I need a subject though. If I separated them into groups of 3 like a normal person, I would have to draw a volcano. Luckily there was something more interesting at the other side of the 2 church emojis, a fairy. So I divided the string of emojis into groups like this. It's very reasonable and I'm definitely not cheating a little. While drawing the stained glass window, I did my best to keep everything as rigid as possible. I know you can technically make curves with stained glass, but I like the geometric look. As for the colors, I made sure to pick some nice and bright ones to mimic the style of actual stained glass windows. I chose some blues, purple, pink and orange. They work pretty well together in the end. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it definitely has a nice and chunky vibe. Having a tarot deck with just this type of design would be pretty cool. Keeping with the theme of trying something new though, let's move on to the next artwork. Before we do that, I just want to pop in. If you like my art and happen to be interested in having a special artwork for yourself, please go check out my VGen. No reserve note though, even just watching the video means a whole lot. So without further ado, let's just get back to it. Pretty Feathers sent me these emojis over on Blue Sky. We had a nice revenge chain going for Art Fight last year. I actually ended up drawing all of her characters, so hopefully I can get to draw any new ones she adds in this year. For this video though, she sent me a skull, pink hearts, snake, a water lily and a snow cloud. It was at this point that I regretted asking for 3 to 5 emojis and not just 3. But I've made my bed and must now lie in it. It's an interesting combination for sure, and an interesting combination deserves an interesting-ish execution. The water lily made me want to draw a more environmental piece, with giant lily pads sitting in a lake. The idea seemed very mesmerizing to me, so I had to make it work. I made sure to at least add in 1 lily so that the emoji is utilized to its fullest. On this day, my mood wasn't great for drawing a properly detailed character, so I drew them as obscured as possible. A big hood and cloak helps hide a lot. I'm not sure what's up with them, but I think I'll dub them a necromancer or an undead for now. I have to incorporate the skull somehow. As for the snake, I had a pretty fun idea. I was excited to add it in as the world serpent Jormungandr himself. It's a fun way to add in a snake without having to figure out how to properly draw one. At least it adds some movement to the piece and maybe a little bit of danger for our friend in the front if he's not already gone. I was a little lazy with incorporating the heart though. I just took a similar pink and made that a bright and overpowering color within the color palette. I mean, I even turned the sky pink. The highlights and everything do look pretty cool though. This piece turned out pretty dull looking compared to my usual art. It's a very different vibe, but it's kind of refreshing. Luckily, I've almost got all the emoji combos behind me, except for this one final one, where my dear friend Axaru decided to make me suffer. He also makes some content which mostly focuses on story times and rants, so go send him some love if you're interested in that type of content. The emojis he sent me were the Puerto Rican flag, a worm, and a green heart. My first thought was, what on earth am I supposed to do with all this? But I immediately got to thinking and looking up pictures of Puerto Rico. I felt like that would be the hardest piece of the puzzle, so I just had to start there. I could use it as the setting for my artwork, or I could take a look at traditional clothing, but both of these seem too obvious. While looking up pictures of Puerto Rico, I found this picture and similar ones. They really caught my attention. I'm a sucker for old and colorful buildings, especially ones with pretty archways. For some reason, incorporating it into a dress design was the first thing that came to mind. It's definitely an interesting concept, I'm just not too sure about my execution. It ended up a little flat and lackluster. Sadly, we have to move on from the dress and take a little look at the other emojis he sent me. A worm and a green heart. I incorporated these in very sneaky ways, so whether you see it as cheating, that's up to you, but since no one can stop me, I made the green the dominant color of the art piece. This was my way of incorporating that green heart. As for the worm, I drew the piece from a low angle, which can also be called the worm's eye view. I actually did pretty good drawing a face from this angle for once. I think it looks really good. Working on this video was a lot, but at least I got to draw some things I never would have otherwise. Finally looking at all of them, this one has to be my favorite. She just turned out way too cute. But that is all for today, crew. Be sure to like and subscribe so that I can see you again for our next voyage. Bye bye!